Hey guys, I'm debt-free Joel and welcome to Wisdom Wednesdays. On Wisdom Wednesdays, I like to talk about things that help me become debt-free and ultimately financially stable. So on this week's episode, I want to talk about some of the pandemic financial habits that you picked up that you probably want to keep going forward. Let's face it, the pandemic hit us all pretty hard. But there are some good things that we picked up during the pandemic that are going to help us really accumulate wealth in the future. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. So the first habit I think that we should all keep is that we should be spending less and saving more. If you notice, there's been a lot of chatter about the economy and what's going to happen after everything starts to open up over the summer. Let's face it, if you're like me right now, you're probably thinking about either A, getting the vaccine, B, you've gotten the vaccine, or you don't care what you're going to do, but you're going to go out over this summer. And the reason why everybody's really hype about this is because we have one of the highest saving rates on record. What I mean by saving rates is like literally everybody's been saving money during the pandemic because they can't travel, they can't do anything. But this is a habit you kind of want to keep going, right? You want to spend less and save more. You want to get to the point where you have about 3 to 6 months of your expenses saved up. Now, there's going to be a ton of reasons why you want to spend money this summer. If you're anything like me, you want to go on vacation. You want to enjoy yourself. You want to go see your loved ones. You just want to have that mental break. But don't jeopardize your savings that you accumulated up to this point. So if you have 3 to 6 months of expenses and you went a little bit over, all right, take some of that and go enjoy yourself. But don't jeopardize at least 3 to 6 months of your expenses because it took a good amount of time to save that up. The pandemic, as far as we know it, is not going to be the same way it was in 2020. We may have the coronavirus for a little bit, but at the end of the day, you should be able to still save some of your money. So keep that first habit. Spend less, save more. Now, the second tip you want to keep is what I love. You got to stay on a budget. See, probably during the pandemic, you were afraid that you either A, were going to lose your job, B, you did lose your job, or C, they probably cut your pay. Either way, you really did get a pen and paper out and kind of go over everything that you have coming in versus everything that's going out. And that's the important thing of a budget, right? A budget is going to tell you where your money is going to go versus your money telling you where you can stay, right? So you may want to make sure that you keep a budget going forward. Look, not many people like doing budgets. I actually do. But not many people like to do it because it forces you to stare yourself in the face and see how much you actually can afford. But a budget actually creates freedom, right? It creates the ability to see where you are versus where you're going to be going. So this is actually my favorite tip. This is the one thing that when I consult with people, the budget is always the one that people are a little shaky on because it's the one time that you hold the mirror to your face and say, this is your financial face. This is what you're going to be doing. So in my opinion, hold yourself to a budget. There's a ton of budgets online. You can look on Instagram, you can look on Google, you can look on various pages. There's so many different types of ways to do budgets. You can improve your budget from the pandemic. But the one thing you want to keep is the habit of creating a budget and doing your budget every single month. Now, the third pandemic tip that I thought that was absolutely fantastic to see was so many people creating a secondary source of income, i.e. a side hustle. I saw people selling tote bags. I saw people selling candles, budgets, consulting arrangements, starting their own businesses. I loved it. And the reason why is because creating a secondary source of income allows you to actually have more income, right? But when you look deeper into it, let me give you an example. If I was to take your primary source of income and completely take that away from you, and that was your only source of income, you're screwed. But if you have multiple sources of income, when I take one away, it's going to hurt, but you can still survive. See, the pandemic taught us that at any moment, your primary source of income can go away. So having a secondary income, having a side hustle is a great way for you to balance your income and grow your wealth. So if this is something you've been doing, great. Keep doing it going forward. Just because everything's open doesn't mean that you have to stop that. Don't depend only on your primary source of income. And if this is something you want to do during the pandemic, but you weren't sure because you didn't have the income that you wanted, when you get your new job, when you get your new source of income, start working on that secondary business. This is something I think is incredibly important, especially among the Black community. So this is my third tip. Keep the side hustles. I love seeing it. And I think the last financial pandemic habit that you should probably keep is just being frugal. Look, there is absolutely nothing with being frugal, right? Doesn't mean that you need to be cheap, but you need to actually be conscious about what you're buying all day long. You see, what the pandemic told us was that a lot of people couldn't go on Amazon the way they wanted to. They had to buy essentials, but they weren't sitting there buying clothes and sneakers and things like that all day long. And they did pretty okay. Now that the economy is going to start opening up, you're going to want to start buying new things and going outside. That's fine. But like I mentioned before, don't jeopardize your savings. But be frugal. You can still have fun without spending a crap ton of money. And the reason why is because you're thinking ahead. You're thinking about your financial prosperity. You're thinking about your kids. You're thinking about your family. You're thinking about where you want to be 30 years from now. So be frugal. It's okay. You don't have to sit there and spend a crap ton of money. You don't have to spend a ton of money on shoes and bags and clothes and cars and this and that, stupid chains. You don't have to do it. I bought this a while ago. Don't judge me. But seriously though, jokes aside, be frugal. Don't let yourself go into a position that now because things are opening up, you become, more lenient with your money, and next thing you know, you ruin your savings and you ruin your financial stability. Be frugal. Keep that habit. There's nothing wrong with it. I love it. So those are the 4 tips that I think that you should keep from the pandemic going forward. Maybe you have your own tips. Feel free to leave them in the comments below. Maybe you have your opinion on what tip you think is more important or what's helped you. I would love to hear from you. Also, feel free to follow me on Instagram. It's @DebtFreeJoel. It's the same handle as YouTube. I put a ton of information on there on investing, on saving, and most importantly, on charity. So I thank you guys for watching, and I'll leave you with this quote that I always leave everybody with. Make sure that a part of all that you earn is yours to keep. I'll see you next time.